We've spoken about policing, we've spoken about corruption, we've spoken about the need for accountability. So there's a lot that came up in the first hour of our People's Dialogue. And what I would like us to also touch on this hour, in fact, in this first 30 minutes, is maybe the issue of unemployment. Maybe we can touch on economic transformation. And I would want us to also focus a little bit more on crime. I know we touched a little bit on it, but that's also a big issue for us in this country. Crime is a serious issue, and it doesn't help when, Dr. de Kock, you've got police officers in the higher echelons fighting each other. That doesn't give me confidence. I mean, when I see a KZN commissioner or the national commissioner fighting with minister and the deputy national commissioner, that doesn't give me confidence that I'm safe. It doesn't give me confidence about the security that is supposed to be provided by the state. I worry because I'm thinking, are they focused on those issues, or are they actually focused on keeping us safe? So unemployment, economic transformation, and talk a little bit more about crime in this first 30 minutes, right, of the dialogue, and then we'll change tack after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Speaking of unemployment, I see Princess Majola, coordinator at the Assembly of the Unemployed. You are here with us. How big of a crisis is this? Because the thing with the unemployment as well is, for as long as our economy doesn't grow above 3%, for instance, we must forget about new jobs that are going to be created. How big is it as a crisis now, and are we finding any solutions? What are you seeing on the ground?
Thanks, Clement. Thanks for having me, and hi to everyone and the listeners. Yeah, we are living in a country with a high unemployment rate, where 62.5% of people who are unemployed are youth. And then we have plus minus 13 million people who are unemployed according to stats, with the 1 million being discouraged workers. Those are people who are between that bracket of 36 to 59 years. Because I mean, when you apply for a job or looking for a job, you are told that you have to be in the age limit of 18 to 35 years. So I mean, another thing, then we have a government where the elites think that people that are unemployed are supposed to be given 370 as a relief. Which, I mean, when you actually calculate this 370, what it means to an ordinary person, it's only 12 rand per day. What do you buy with 12 rand per day when you can't even buy a loaf of bread? But then we have them being there saying, at least we are doing something. So as the unemployed, as the Assembly of the Unemployed, we are advocating for 1.5. That would be paid as a basic income grant. We know that our government is talking about a basic income grant.
They've
but
been
yet,
talking about it.
Yes, but they're not implementing it. They are asking at how much, but whereas they know how much does it cost, I mean the upper poverty level, how much does it cost? We can start there. And that even the 1.5 that we're advocating for actually equates to 48 rand per day. That still doesn't do anything. It doesn't buy toiletries, it doesn't buy a proper nutritious meal. So it doesn't do anything. When you have them there in parliament, they are busy crying for a raise, an increase of their salaries. For what, when they have PACs? Why are we not talking about their PACs, the PACs of the ministers or members of parliament being removed so that this can aid in this advocacy that we are fighting for? We are in a country that has unemployed graduates, a high number of unemployed graduates. We are having a crisis in the health sector where we have unemployed doctors who can't even do community service. But yet we have that 700 million that's going to be used for a talk shop. Why aren't they taking that 700 million and making sure that these retrenched teachers, these unemployed doctors, they get to be paid and then services are rendered? We are having 28 schools, I know, in Soweto that have been closed because they didn't meet a threshold of having adequate learners. Those schools can be reopened because, and teachers employed to teach this youth, 62.5% of youth that are unemployed, skills. Because the curriculum that we have, the education curriculum that we have, doesn't even equip the learners with the skills that are needed today that will assist them in getting jobs in the future. So those buildings that have been closed, those school buildings that have been closed, do you know what's happening to them? They've been taken and hijacked by the same ward councillors who come from the ruling party, and people are being housed there. They've been turned into residential areas, and these ward councillors are collecting rent. When you question this, when you ask them, the Department of Infrastructure, no one knows, but they're still subsidizing this. I mean, if these schools don't meet the threshold, why weren't they demolished? Why are they still being used as residential areas? So this still adds to that thing of corruption. So normally they ask us, when you're advocating for 1.5, where are we going to get this money because South Africa doesn't have money? Then we are saying to them, tax the rich. What happened to corporate tax? We know there's illicit flows of tax that's happening. So that's where the money can be. We can get the money from. And like we said, remove the PACs, and there will be money for people to be employed.
And stop the corruption.
Yes.
Yeah. And of course, if you tax, we can clap. If you tax the rich, then the conversation becomes what happens, for instance, did you say corporate tax or just the rich, not corporate tax? Don't increase corporate tax. Increase corporate tax. And then the companies are going to come and say, okay, then I'm going to lay off people because then I don't have the money to sustain that higher amount of corporate tax. All right, let's go to some more people. Hello, give us your name and surname, please. Go ahead.
Hi, Clement. My name is Tembeka.
Hello, Tembeka.
So I think, it's good to advocate for the money that the lady was speaking about. However, I don't know if I'm a graduate, right? I'd be okay with getting 1,500 every month instead of getting a job. I think we cannot take shortcuts in everything that we do because I think we're putting plasters on almost everything. You can't say it's okay to give people 350 or 370 or 1,500. Therefore, you are taking care of them. Create jobs, guys. We need jobs, and we know there's the ways of doing jobs. I mean, when we were growing up, when I was growing up, there were technicals and technicons, right, where people were learning skills.
Where are they
my
now?
uncles, my late uncles were technicians, were electricians. They didn't have to study degrees for years and years, but they did the work. We didn't struggle in the communities. When we needed an electrician, we had a certified electrician who was my uncle or neighbor, a plumber. So we need that back, and we need to get the government to understand that you putting a plaster in us giving the 350 is not helping anyone. It's creating what we are seeing now. It's creating this huge unemployment where you have young people sitting in the sun. I mean, I work in the communities with these young people. Every time I talk to them, I'm like, why are you here? They will tell you, I have a degree, I have this and this, I've done so much, and yet I have no job. Everyone asks me for experience. Where are these organizations calling for interns to come and intern when they are finishing their universities? When are we creating structures that will really create jobs for the community, not want everyone to be a lawyer, a doctor, because we need people to use their hands.
Yeah.
And it's all good and well to say, let the government give them money, but I don't think that will be a solution to the problem we have with unemployment.
Oh, that's so true. So many hands will come to you. I do, every time I drive back home to the village, there used to be a technical, like a teacher's college. It doesn't operate anymore. All of those are gone to the ground, and government is not focusing much on how do we resuscitate those, because as you say, there were skills that were created through that. My brother, go ahead.
Yeah, Dumelang.
Dumela.
Ke Snega Konyana, I'm from Kagiso. I head Makelani Network, and I also represent Buambach. It's a social activism movement. I'm on economic transformation. My feeling is we are not moving economic transformation. I'll tell you why. And truth be told, ANC came up with good policies. Your BEE, they even came up with institutions to say, if you want to have a black person who was disadvantaged, participating, you've got GEP, Gauteng Enterprise Propeller, you've got National Empowerment Fund to assist people so that the economy can transform. But what we're seeing same people who came with policies opposing their own policies. I'll give you a practical example. I'm from Kagiso. They are setting up a mall infrastructure with houses for about 5 billion, right? Then I said to them, if you're going to have a mall here and you don't talk to us, the affected communities, and you just want to build. You call us for a short training, you've never even engaged us. Because I was saying you've got people who are selling on the street, your street vendors selling veggies and stuff. If you want to transform, take these mamas who are selling on the street, put them as a cooperative. When you have fruit and veg in that particular mall, you take local people to own something in that mall. If you're going to have franchises in a mall, anything that is franchisable, that's what we would have said in public participation to transform. Take anything that is franchisable. Take young people, put them in a groups of 10 or 20. They will own your KFC or Nando's, anything that is franchisable. Then you are transforming the economy because local people are owning the economy. Now what they are doing, the mayor said to me, we're going to have 100 shops. We'll have 3.5 houses and we'll have 2,000 jobs. But I said, who are going to own those shops? What we are supposed to have done as the local government, when the developer comes, you say to the developer, okay, we'll allow you to build here, but our condition is certain percentage of your mall. We must have equity in that mall. National Empowerment Fund has got money to fund so that local people can participate. But our own government, who came up with policies, are the one who are saying, they are even referring to me as a construction mafia for only saying, take young people, let them own something in that mall. For the next 5 years, 10 years, you are able to say we've got a mall in Kagiso. 30% of that mall is owned by local people. We don't see that. They are the same people who are saying we'll call police on you, we'll do 1, 2, 3, and say we are not transforming because our own people are the one blocking the
Isn't part of the
transformation.
problem that someone will go take their cousin to come be part of those young people who supposedly represent the community? Because I've seen that many times.
They
where
do that.
They do. So a councillor, so a certain minister is going to call a comrade who is at the provincial level and say, hey, do you not have a councillor at Ako Soweto? Because
do you know-
we've got a project, 100 million, and we have to give 30% to the local
You
community.
know why are they blocking us? So that their own brothers, like you are saying. And the developer said to us, I'll tell you this, the developer said to us, I am private, the 30% that you're talking about, I'm not going to abide by that. It is like, that's what he said. It is like a guy being told to marry a lady that he does not want. I'm not going to oblige to a 30%. He was saying that in front of the people who came up with the policy. They said nothing. And as it is, the developer will continue. The mall will be built. We are going to be exploited again as the buying power. And the only thing that we have as black people, I must say this, we've got the buying power. And we need not to toy with it. We must use it to bargain for the stake in the economy. But if our people are not protecting us, we're not going to transform. That's how I feel about the transformation.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you.
we're not here to be participants in the economy. We're here to also be owners of the economy. Yeah, let's take the mic right at the back and over here as well. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, hi. My name is Ibanati Ngobo and I'm from Outer. I think intrinsically one of the things that we don't discuss is the failure between the government contract and us. Government has failed to create a very fertile ground for economic transformation and economic growth. And that's one of the few things that we don't talk about. And we have to talk about political deployment and the effects that it eventually has. We don't talk about the fact that majority of the people that are in government are not there because of competency, and they're not there because they can actually do the jobs that they need to be doing in order to create an economic viable South Africa. That's issue number one. And B, we don't hold them accountable. You know, we speak about the national dialogue, but intrinsically, what is the national dialogue? It's going to be another state Zondo commission where 10 years later, and after 2 years of wrapping it up, there's going to be recommendations, there's going to be another forensic report, but nothing will be done. Will there be any legal entity that will hold government accountable towards those recommendations? So I think when you speak about unemployment, we have to get to a point where we look at what are the measurable steps that we can take to hold the people that are in power accountable. And accountability is one of those things that we cannot remove.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ntabeleng. I'm from ABT Telecoms under Marketing and Communication Department. I want to touch on high unemployment rate because I'm one of the graduates that was affected the past year. So I want to touch a bit about corruption too, because I believe that unemployment and corruption are two related terms. If there's corruption, there's going to be high unemployment rate. So just like Mr. Lawrence said about SAPS, about the high number of the subs applications around July, that thing, it showed that we are so unemployed because there are a lot of people who studied policing, diploma in policing, forensic and law. Those people have got love for law enforcement. But then the problem is on the job description, there's always something like grade 12 with license. I believe that those people that are just applying because they just qualify, but not because they've got love for law enforcement. What about those who did diploma in policing and law and forensics? Those people, they study that because they love and they want to save the country. So another thing is the experience. I mean, if I studied for 4 years, diploma or degree under certain field, you can't be saying I must have 3-year diploma or 4-year diploma and you want 5-year experience. Where am I going to take it? Because I'm fresh from university. So I think that is what is causing the high unemployment rate in South Africa. So I think they should, I think I should thank the companies that are doing the internships. Because if I'm from university, you give me like 12 months internship for training under what I studied. I think they should also employ us after maybe completing the internship. If they see that you did well in this, then I think that is an opportunity. I think I should say hi, big shout out to MIC CETA, Agri-CETA, because they're helping the graduate in terms of experience. Maybe after completing an internship, if I have got 2 years, because some of them are 24 months, and then I can have a degree and also 2-year experience of something that I studied for, then I can be employed in a big company. So I think the experience and also the love for something is what is killing us.
Absolutely.
Thank
Over
you.
to you.
Hi everyone, and hi Clement. I'm Koketso. I'm a farmer, and I sit on a community structure as a leader, and I've been there for about nearly 10 years. So, I think at first I was one of those people. I was very skeptical. I would lie about the people's dialogue, the national dialogue, because I just thought it's just another talk show, But I think in talking, there's also something very cathartic for the soul of the nation about talking, And unfortunately, if you don't talk about our problems, how are we going to even start to unpack them? So the biggest problem that I think we face now is that citizens can see, and they can see the destruction everywhere. So I'll give you an example. Just this week, I was at a government department building in Pretoria. This government department building is about 14 levels, okay? In those 14 levels, they're only utilizing floor 11 to floor 14. Floor 1 to 13 has been abandoned by other government departments because maybe some comrade had a tender somewhere and then he wanted to put his own people there. So we need to also, in talking, also look at the very corrosive effect of the tender system in incapacitating the state over the past 30 years, right? Because, when I saw that, Clement, I went on the first floor, okay? And then I was like, there's no one here. Second floor, there's no one here. Up until another lady came on, I think on the 6th floor, and she says, no, the floors start from 11 to 14. So I said to her, I'm like, but why can't these people turn this place into low-cost housing, social housing, right? We've got a huge unemployment problem. We've got a huge housing problem. Why can't someone just see this thing and then say, let me act, let me convert these units into low-cost housing for people? Because we're talking about unemployment, but lack of housing and lack of ownership of property also entrenches indignity in people. And in South Africa, we've got a lot of people that just will never even have the prospect of owning their own home. And no one is looking to do anything about it, And for me, that's very, very heartbreaking, right? So in terms of the rural areas, you talked about crime. Crime in the rural areas is a scourge. Basically now what we're having is farmers are organizing themselves as militias now, okay? Because the police stations are under-resourced. They don't have enough police vehicles. It's a mess. So people are under siege. There's a lot of stock theft. People are being killed for their cattle. And it's on a very syndicated level because they're stealing grain from the silos, they're stealing stock, cattle and stuff. So farmers are under siege, and that's a real concern. And not even farmers, just people living in the rural areas. Grannies are being raped in the rural areas. Rural crime affects everyone. I live in a rural village, right? So I know at nighttime, if I want to be safe, 6 p.m., I must be indoors. Sure. Don't go outside there because the crime, the impunity with which people kill is really, really scary, right? And as I said, for me, economic transformation is being hindered by the corrosive tender system. That what breaks my heart is that none of these political parties, these mainstream parties, want to do away with this tender system. It's completely hollowed out the state. It's incapacitated the state. A person, Clement, will charge you. I had won a farmer's prize to build a shade net. This shade net, the cost value of it is maybe about 170,000, right? A shade net is a structure that just has netting and like poles. And you know, this person charged the government 500,000. So you think to yourself, if everybody's going to inflate something that costs 200,000 and inflate it by 300,000, and this is happening consecutively for 30 years, what happens to the kitty of the state after 30 years of just this unabated, almost like looting based on this tender system?
Oh, when they want to
Obviously
buy
now we-
pens.
Exactly,
They
because
can't
now
just go buy pens. They must
we
go
won't,
get...
we won't have anything now. And this is why you now see Treasury is literally,
Yeah.
the bank now no longer has any money.
Yeah. Whew. Okay, so yeah, so much to unpack there. Just let's go here quickly.
Thanks, Clement. Number one, I think we are here to say what the president needs to hear. And then going forward, I'll tell you my name after. Basically, what we don't want as a country currently, where we are at, we don't want a welfare state. What's happening now is that our purse is going to run dry, and we won't have anywhere to go to. Coming to your unemployment issue, for us to tackle unemployment like it was done back then, you might say I'm suffering from some Egypt symptom. I mean apartheid system. They could attract a lot of investment, and they managed to retain a lot of it. Hence, it was easy for them to create employment. So don't let us change the system and thinking of saying people should rely on the state. It's not sustainable. I'll give you examples. Look at the NDP, for example. They came up with very good policies. They said this and this must be done for us to achieve this. We all know what needs to be done. It's time for action. We no longer have time for talks and talks. What we need is to tell the president to say the welfare system must come to an end, and if you are to get it, it must be very, very difficult for you to get into the welfare system. It has collapsed the... Okay, let me not go on. My name is Mpo. I'm an activist from Brooklyn.
Okay. Mpo, thank you very much. I see there's reaction to that. I need to take the headlines, though. It's 10:31. So after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines, so much to say about the tender system, so much to say about what you've said about the welfare state. But I think there's a reaction here, so I'll get you guys to say it as opposed to I say it. So we'll do that after the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. South Africa prepares for its first ever national dialogue. Former IEC chairperson Dr. Brigalia Bam says the country's electoral system has to change. Bam, the first African woman to be appointed to the body, says South Africa copied a system that doesn't best serve its people. As it stands, South Africans vote parties into power, who in turn appoint representatives to serve at their behest. Members of Municipal Workers Union SAMU are marching in Tshwane over salary increases. The union says it will submit its memorandum to municipal officials to demand clarity of the disputed increases of between 3 and 5%. The union says its members are not satisfied with what the employer is offering. And Rwanda is the latest African country that's willing to take in people deported by the U.S. The 250 migrants are part of a deportation deal agreed with Washington. President Donald Trump's administration has negotiated controversial arrangements to send people to third countries, among them South Sudan and Eswatini, in order to speed up deportations. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While traveling on the N3 North, we've got roadworks taking place in the Dale area right as you approach the Geldenhuys interchange, and they are causing delays. Please be on the lookout there. While on the N12 as well as the R24 West, traffic remains very slow. This is between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 South leaving Bryanston. This is due to an earlier accident near Malibongwe Drive, and traffic lights are still out of order in 4 ways at Winnie Mandela Drive and Leslie, causing delays. They also out of order in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek. And if you're traveling in the city of Tshwane at this particular moment, there's some delays along the N1 South just as you approach the Flying Saucer interchange. We'll have more updates for you. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Experience a once-in-a-lifetime Women's Day celebration on the 9th of August at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium, featuring two Grammy Award-winning legends, Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas, alongside South Africa's own incredible Zonke, Sjava, and Vusinova, all live in concert. Enjoy this ultimate VIP experience with platinum and golden standing tickets. You'll get complimentary seating, private bars, exclusive restrooms, and the freedom to bring your own picnic blankets for a truly relaxed, intimate evening. So get ready for a soul-stirring night as the voices that have captured Mzansi's hearts bring the house down in true South African style. Get your tickets now on CompuTicket or webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Soulful Night, Vetex Events, and 702.
So we did a thing, a full commitment kind of thing. We've partnered with Sixt to bring Worldwide to your doorstep. So you see how that's a serious thing, because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT, so premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
Welcome to the brand new days.
Sail the world with Norwegian Cruise Line, with more to see, more to do, and more to enjoy. Plus, upgrade your holiday with NCL's More at Sea for premium beverages, specialty dining, and much more. Think international cruising. Think NCL. For the best deals available, visit ncl.com or contact your travel agent. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the brand new days. Dear Mr. President, we'd like a word. The people have something to say. The People's Dialogue on the Clement Manyathela Show.
24 minutes before 11 o'clock, this is the People's Dialogue here on the Clement Manyathela Show. It's a special edition of the show. We're having a conversation about a number of issues that are facing us as a nation, and we're trying to figure out how we can fix them. And I'm so glad to see that I know there are people listening, whether from the presidency, those that will be hosting the next dialogue, for instance, because they've been in touch with us. I'm glad to see the National Planning Commission here as well, because they must take whatever we say here and go plan it for the future. So you can also join us on 011-883-0702. Let's just go to your voice notes first on 072-702-1702.
Hey, morning, Clems. This unemployment grants we're getting as a country, the youth and whoever, it depends. It creates a dependency on the country, whereby the youth and other people, they're getting grants, and then there's child grants, and then there's free RDP houses, there's free healthcare. Those are important, yes, but now we're creating a dependency on the country. Why doesn't the government do something that can make people self-reliant? I don't know what program can be started that is sustainable, where there's actually people that know what they're doing to handle those sort of things. Because now, we're not doing a good job, Cook some Devland.
You know, everyone says that we don't have money, while profits have never been higher than they are right now. So again, we allow companies to get away with far too much, not just here, but worldwide.
Morning, Clement. How do we bring back manufacturing back into South Africa? Is there a way that government can aggressively look into that policy to protect manufacturing industry, nurture and grow manufacturing industry? We have subcontracted China to dump their cheap goods here, and they've killed and destroyed a lot of small towns that were manufacturing hubs of South Africa. How do we do that? China is supposedly our BRICS partner, but China is destroying a lot of local industries right now with cheap imports. Government should act very quickly. Not everyone is equipped to be in these office jobs and degreed and all that. We need to upskill our youth so that they can produce and make things. Thank you.
Yeah, I remember at some point manufacturing was number one. I had the stats essay, the statistician general on the show, Risenga Maluleke, and we were talking about how it fell from number 1 and then it went to number 4, and when it was number 1, it was a source of a lot of job creation. But unfortunately, that's now out of the window. Let's get some reaction quickly. I want us to talk about health as well before we get to 11 o'clock. So let's start there with you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much for the platform, Clement.
Yeah.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Ntsapokazi Makipi.
Yeah.
I'm a very concerned mother for the future of South Africa, particularly the future of our children. So I just want to start off by saying that we often say young people should be given stuff and so on. But I want to say that power is not given. It is something that is taken. And that's one thing that we always need to think about. We can give the memorandums to the government to say this is what you need to do, but until and unless we are willing to challenge and actually want to take power, that's when we're going to start seeing the changes. So on the issue of unemployment, it's one of the things that made me to be in this development sector, where you look at the unemployment stats and you get heartbroken because almost 50% of the people that are seeking jobs don't have matric. And that tells you about the realities of a country that we live in. And that perpetuates the cycle of poverty, because a child that is born to a mother that is unemployed, chances are they're gonna fall into that trap. So then we ought to ask ourselves the question of, when we're saying almost half of the people that are looking for jobs do not have matric, what kind of jobs are we supposed to be creating? What type of economy are we supposed to be creating? And I often hear this thing of, if the economy grows, then there's going to be job creation. We are missing the point of looking at what actually grows the economy. The only way that economies grow is when new businesses are getting introduced. Because it's almost like we are all looking at corporates must hire. Corporates, there's only so much that they can do. But even when we're speaking about entrepreneurship, we're speaking about it as, it's a side hustle. But entrepreneurship can actually be used as a vehicle to solve the many challenges that we have. And so I want to say, in us looking even about the transformation, economic transformation is not this thing of putting black managers in existing companies. If we want to see a real transformation, we have to empower ourselves to start businesses. Now we're seeing that we're speaking about digital transformation, there's the green economy. I'm not hearing our government saying, how do we create those opportunities? We've got a problem of waste. That's a low-hanging fruit of saying, how do we develop our young people to be the ones that actually run these businesses? Because that's an economy of the future. And what I see with our politicians, and this is something that I also want you guys to think about, what if, and this is a big what if what we are witnessing is an end of liberation politics? I'm of the firm belief that we have reached the end of liberation politics, but the type of politics that will take us forward has not really emerged. So we need to start thinking about, how does the politics of not fighting, and of building start forming shape so that we can take South Africa forward? Because this is our country, we are raising children, we are raising our grandchildren, and we don't want South Africa to fail. And previously we said, this is my last point, previously we were told that we've got a triple challenge in South Africa. I want to say we've got a quadruplet challenge now, because crime is taking over. Because when you are unemployed, it leads to poverty, it leads to inequality, and then people then feel, I'm gonna go and take from the ones that have. So how do we start developing pragmatic solutions that will lift our country forward? Thank you.
Amazing. Over to you, ma'am.
Dumelang, to the listeners at home and to the House at large. My name is Ofense Mudimieng. I'm from Kagiso. I represent an organization called Makalani Network, and I am the youth advocate there. I'd like to start with unemployment. According to Stats SA, in the first quarter of 2025, it shows that 50.2% of the young people make the working age population. And of that 50.2%, 45.1% is youth not in education, employment, nor training. This brings me to my next point. I think it is very important for private sector and public sector to come together in social cohesion. So social cohesion in a sense of NPOs or supporting NPOs that are providing skills, skills development, training centers that are providing trades like you mentioned earlier on. It is very important for the public sector rather, to help these NPOs in terms of accreditation, your CETAs and the likes, to ensure that communities are well equipped to provide skills to young people who will be competitive in the work environment, also in different sectors and industries. For example, when you look at the electrical industry, there's a lady that mentioned it earlier on. If your CETAs are supporting NPOs and skills development centers to provide them with accreditation, it will allow for young people to have accredited skills. For example, your trades, your electricity trades, your wireman's licensing and the likes. It will allow young people to be competitive, especially because you see young people who are sitting at home who don't have matrics, for example, don't have matric, barely have grade 9 even. But if there's a working system in our NPOs and skills development centers, it will allow for young people to be equipped with the adequate skills, not just any skills, because you have NPOs who provide skills but are not accredited. So you'll be a young person sitting with a certificate, maybe, for example, an entrepreneurship certificate, but it does not hold anything. So meaning even if you go and seek employment with that certificate, it's as good as not having anything at all. But if we have these government tools or instruments that are already in place, it's not something that is far-fetched. These are tools that are already in place and are supposed to be working, but just need to be monitored correctly, regulated, and intensified, especially in our disadvantaged communities. For example, I'm from an industrial community in Kagiso. I live right opposite Chamdo, where you have your SAB brewery, you have your Beta, you have your art mining equipment, you have your Tiger brands, your Hero Roto tanks. There's a lot of industrial companies that are right opposite us, but we don't see them taking part in any CSI or CSR to give back to the community and also provide employment for these young people who come from these skills development centers, because you get requirements where they say you must have 2 years, 3 years experience. Where are you going to get that from if these companies that are right in front of us are not giving young people an opportunity to do that?
Yeah, and I mean, they are required to do the CSI projects. Over to you.
Testing. Hi, Clement and everybody. My name is Lula Madlamini. I'm a patriotic South African and an avid Talk Radio 702 listener. So as part of the People's Dialogue and the National Dialogue, there's a very important community of our ecosystem, the journalists, that bring us the very news that we are really here for. You are one of them, Clement. We have Uputi from Tembisa radio station. Just for a moment, as he was talking, I just internalized and I put myself in his shoes to say, as he's going through his mobile phone now, what story is coming through, that he's going to be faced with yet another fetus. He's going to be faced with another body that's burnt. And I'm trying to figure out, as part of my comment is, what does that job description look like for you guys? Does it include, you've got to be able to face, and how articulate are your job descriptions? And having faced that, what you go through on a daily basis, what does it look like for being rehabilitated for the trauma that you go through? That at whatever stage we receive the news, what you guys have gone through at the very different levels of journalism, so that is a threat to that ecosystem, that part of our society. So yeah, that is just my
Which
comment.
is so critical to our constitutional democracy. Yeah. If you're going to have people who are going to be scared to come and study journalism or even practice because of the trauma and how dangerous it is, because these days we even receive death threats because you've asked powerful people tough questions or because you are questioning things you shouldn't be questioning. So that's a great one. We'll come back to it. It's 11 minutes now before 11 o'clock.
The Midday Report. Weekdays, 12 to 1.
Is this an approach we're going to see more of?
We use what you call situational appropriateness. You cooperate. When we stop you, you raise your hand, we arrest you for being person of firearms and any other crime. You dare take arms and challenge us and try to shoot at us. You'll get and match what belongs to you. We are safe. The community must be happy. They'll be safe. No more criminals who are daring law enforcement.
Major General Fred Kakana.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. 12 to 1 on 702. 702.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age, or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and phlegmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
Dear Mr. President,
lend us your ears.
The people have something to say.
The People's Dialogue
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
9 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for all your comments. I see them on YouTube. I will read some of them because a lot of you are watching us now on YouTube. Thank you for your calls, your voice notes as well. We'll incorporate them as part of the People's Dialogue. Let me go to some more voices here at Prime Media House. Over to you, brother. Go ahead.
Good day, everyone. My name is Mutwa Kumalo. I'm from Tembisa. I'm the secretary of Tembisa Stakeholders, and I'm the chairperson of Ubuntu Culture and Heritage Foundation. Basically, what we do in Tembisa as an entity, we intervene on service delivery issues and social issues for grandfathers and grandmothers, as well as orphans, because we've got child-headed families in Ivory Park and in Tembisa. I want to speak on I'm just going to try to combine the unemployment, the corruption issue, the poverty issue, and the issue of inequality. All these things are all man-made. I think the solution for us going forward is to unlearn certain things that we have learned for 31 years now. We need to unlearn and quickly relearn new things. We are currently we have introduced a program, which is a national program in Tembisa called Social Employment Fund. It is funded through IDC, and it assists school graduates and people who haven't managed to make it in academic skills. We place them in local factories, like in our local businesses, and then they get a stipend from IDC. So there are programs that are there that could mitigate some of these issues that we have. So what we need to do is to build an ecosystem of sharing information as quickly as possible, and try to rephrase the term of government. The government, what we have done in our space is to say we are the government, the people of Tembisa. That's why we said no to the fixed tariff, because we attended to the NERSA public consultation in November last year. We made our inputs, but what we learned by participating in that is that most of these public participations, they are not really public participations, because most entities have got what they call negotiated price agreements. So meaning what NERSA charges an ordinary household family in Tembisa for electricity is different from what NERSA charges API or BMW for a same unit of electricity. And that NPI, that negotiated price agreement, is evergreen. It doesn't get affected. It's only the ESCOM executives and the company executives who knows the content of that price agreement, which they don't consult anybody. So when we said to City of Ekurhuleni no to the fixed charge, we understood what we are talking about, and it's based on research material, which is public knowledge. And we came from a background of saying NERSA's formula of allowing ESCOM these percentages, because when you add what ESCOM was advocating for, it ended up to getting to 66%. So meaning the ordinary grandmother was going to pay 66% for a unit of power, which corporates have got negotiated price agreements which are evergreen, and they never participate in any public consultation. So these percentages don't affect the institutions. This is a reality. We were invited there to make inputs, but before we got there, as Tembisa stakeholders and Ubuntu culture, we had prepared a presentation. When we got to the presentation, ESCOM made their own presentation. We had to change our presentation because what ESCOM presented had nothing to do with electricity. Yeah. It had nothing to do with the accessibility of electricity, the availability of electricity, and the affordability of electricity. They never spoke into those things. They have what they call a 4-pillar plan. So that 4-pillar plan is focusing on their projects that they are involved in, their tenders, and so on and so forth. So basically, as community members, we need to take full responsibility of our personal lives and our community lives and our street lives. In closing, in 2006, we started a pilot project in KZN called the Virtual State Development Project. It's now 19 years old. It has changed young people's way of thinking. The young kids are adopted by the provincial legislature to understand how laws are put into place, because all of us are governed by laws. So our children need to understand how laws are done. So with this V-State concept, we started it in 2006 in KZN in Maritzburg with the Umsunduzi municipality. It's now in a couple of districts in KZN. And this year we partnered with the National Department of Fisheries and Forestry. We are doing aquaculture. Yeah. We are introducing it into schools as well. There are schools that the Department of Education had closed down. We are resuscitating those schools and turning them into centers of excellence and learning.
Yeah, that sounds like so incredible. That sounds amazing, because also to challenge those laws, I mean, we need to get young, when you say we are the government, we need to get young people to understand the structure of our politics and the laws so that they're able to also challenge them.